recording yet again. Okay, thank you very much. I now make the Apsara our host for the meeting, and she will be just take up presented over the rest of the meeting. So we have, you already know, we have 14 chapter for physics and not. Sorry. Acha, okay. It is starting sound for your class. Okay. You know, every chapter in the physics, it is important for us. Every and each chapter, 14 chapter. So when at phase 2, I just make you some information that in which chapter we are going for giving the information. And you know now the MCQ examination is on Google form MCQ. So you can know your number and you can just judge yourself Google form. You have no time to share the answer with your friend. If you share the answer with your friend, I think you are the lost the time. You are going to lose the time. So chapter one is always important. Chapter one is always important for 2 MCQ and plus 2 marks for creative. For CQ 2 and 2 MCQ, 2 marks or one or 2 marks. So if you think that chapter one is not important, then it is not good sign for you. It auto will carry 4 marks, and 4 marks is essential for us. So 4 marks, if your physics 100 out of 100 is possible. So if you just think about, I just want to get the A plus. A plus is easy. 80 marks is easy, but you got the highest mark, and 100 of 100 is possible in physics. So you should have must think about this one. So what is the A type and B type question from here? You know, first question is what is Vernier constant? Whenever I make this question, what is Vernier constant and what is phase? These two question is very much familiar. We know we have two phase. One phase is chapter 7 and another phase is here. So when question 1 to 3, then you must, when it is question 1 to 3, phase will be from chapter 1, and it is 7, 8, 9, say 6, 7, 8 this question, then you answer from the sound. But if you answer any one, it will be okay for us even. Then you see what is list count. I already make you 100 A type question, 100 B type question for you. So you already have the answer from this one, but I have to just show you what is you are going to short revision from here. And every B type question, from which one? Every B type question, it will derive from A type question. They from the B type question, they just want more about from the A type question. Then what is Vernier constant? If you know this one, if I can make this B type question, I will say Vernier constant is 0.1. What does it mean? That means I want to know from you what is Vernier constant and what is that Vernier constant mean. So it is always, and what is dimension? It is question from chapter 2 or 3, but they discuss here. What is dimension? What is dimension? They discuss here. This is the question from here. What is instrument error? Instrumental and personal error. You know, last topic of this chapter is on depending on this error. So they have right to make you question. What is instrumental and personal error? And personal error. We have to make understand. And we saw here many type of question. One type how the 1 second is determined, how mole is determined, how the length is determined. Among this, a similar question with our chemistry. It is what is 1 mole? They ask, they have right to question from here. What is 1 mole? But it is more related with chemistry. Eh, why force is a derived quantity? You know, in chapter 3, we will be discuss about force. But here, this question is very much important for you. This question is very much important for you. Why force is a derived quantity? Why force is a derived quantity? Derived quantity. Why force is a derived quantity? It is familiar question from here, and they discuss about the derived quantity here. Hmm. What is called scientific symbol, or what do you mean by scientific symbol? What is called scientific symbol? Scientific symbol. Scientific symbol. So you have a right to make answer from here. What is scientific symbol? Many questions there already uh, about this one. So why force is a fundamental quantity? Not only force, they maybe ask you why power is a fundamental quantity. Why power is a fundamental quality. So this is the A type and B type question from here. A type and B type question from here. What is fundamental quantity? Why force is a derived quantity? Whenever you explain the why force is a derived quantity, you can also derive the fundamental quantity also. You already know fundamental quantity has the definite, only one type of quantity, and it has no more other quantity if we broke it, if you derived it. And force is a derived quantity, complex quantity, because of what? Because in the force there is two or more fundamental quantities present. Force equal to ma, F equal to ma. So m and a, again when we divide the uh, acceleration, we can go for the velocity and time. After velocity, we can also derive it by the displacement and time. Displacement and time there. So, sorry, chapter 1 for MCQ. For MCQ, what information you should be know about this one? Hmm. Acha. Nucleus is MCQ for quick MCQ revision from this chapter. You know, from this chapter, if there is from this chapter, you know, every line is information. There is year, scientific name, scientific country, what's his contribution for the science, for the physics, what is the fundamental state, rising state, and the unit of this one. But among of this one, I will just give you some clue about some important lines, whatever they make the question available in the SSC examination. First one, you see, it is just a question about just very important type of question. Which two scientists, which two scientists, which two scientists has contribution, two scientists have contribution on two scientists together. So it is just uncommon for you to find out. Whenever you read, you maybe mark one line. But two scientists, when you make similar work, then it is tough for you. Contribution on nucleus is fissionable. Where this word? Contribution nucleus is fissionable. Nucleus is uh, fissionable. The spelling may be some mistake, but you just think about this. Nucleus is fissionable. So whenever you go, you will be say Otto Hahn and Stressman, or your
fissionable
Max
মানে কি
Planck
স্যার?
or Albert Einstein. Which one will be the? You just find out. Anyone asking a question to me? because uh, yes, Sadman.
Sir,
Okay.
fissionable মানে কি স্যার?
Fissionable means you just make this one, make fission. What does fission means? When you break one something and it will produce two or more thing, fissionable. And
আচ্ছা
fusion means when two or more substances adding together, then it is fusion. It is like a chemical reaction, like when a synthesized reaction, and you says that another one is when one substance is broken to the another, decomposition reaction. Decomposition is fissionable, and when synthesized reaction is you like fusion. Uh, which one is willing it is spring balance. Is spring balance by spring balance, by spring balance we measure two things: weight or force of gravity, or force of gravity. We know the force of gravity is called weight. We know force of gravity is called the weight. So they may be directly they write weight, or they write force of gravity here. Force of gravity here. Uh, So you have many derived quantities: femtometer, hectometer, like this one. Among them, femtometer is more familiar in the examination question. So if I make a question, how much meter is how much meter, how much meter in 10 femtometer, femtometer. This unit is very much important always for you. Hmm. Then who invent the wind farm? Wind farm, the inventor. It is always inventor. You just searching for this one. Who invented the wind farm? This one. Then prediction, solar eclipse, six prediction, solar eclipse, solar eclipse. And out of 134, out of 134 scientists, they mention here two books here. You should search which two books, one for Newton and another for very beginning of the chapter, Al-Khwarizmi, or just two books, and one encyclopedia. There is about very much important which two book, which scientist, and the encyclopedia, and the how many parts of this encyclopedia and the parts. So whenever you searching this one, it is too much important for you. Uh, there is many more information about this chapter. Therefore, who is the, if I say more information, who is the father of scientific symbol, and what is the unit, some unit they given the relation about this one, and what type of motion they describe about some motion also here. Then they maybe give you short question: 50 kilometer per hour, what does equal to what meter per second, or meter per second to the kilometer per hour. This is some information that you have to not forget about this one. Then solar eclipse already you know. Then how many part of the encyclopedia they are giving this one, and who gave the solar eclipse and solar centered idea. So to think about solar centered idea, solar centered idea, solar centered idea. Who gave the solar centered idea? So solar eclipse and solar centered idea. You just clear yourself about this point. This point, just clear yourself about. So first chapter is totally about this one. You just know for MCQ 7 to 8 item, and for A type or B type question, you will know about something about this one. Now the familiar chapter 2 and 3. You know, always I told you that chapter 2 and chapter 3 is like a twin. They make question and they like to make question with the mixer of these two chapter. But this two chapter has also some unique characteristics. You can make hundred of creative questions and MCQ regarding to these two chapters. So it is also important for creative and MCQ, but it is not a independent chapter. They just make it dependence on the chapter, another chapter, chapter 3. They make the independence. So if you go the chapter 2, if you have some very renowned question about chapter 2, what's that renowned question about chapter 2? If we go the chapter 2, you know what is vibratory motion, the different type of motion here. What is what is the there is many type of question, but always they like to this question, what is vibratory motion, then periodic motion and simple harmonic motion. Star mark. Simple simple harmonic motion. Within this type, this priority, this is are important. And you know what is vector quantity, what is scalar quantity, which has the value and direction is vector quantity, which has the only value is called the scalar quantity. And this question is very much important. What is instantaneous speed? Always instantaneous speed. And also they make it B type question. What does it mean by instantaneous speed? So you just make it this speed. And what is acceleration, you already know. And uniform acceleration, gravitational acceleration, you already know that. What is the law of falling body? There is a question always. You just learn what are the laws of falling body. Laws of falling body. Then A type question and B type question, always they make a question. What are the laws of falling body? A and B type. When A type, first law is only for A type, and the following law is 2 and 3. They can make it B type question. Then they ask for B type question. If you know the various type of motion, periodic motion, vibratory motion, simple harmonic motion, I already told in chapter 1 that there is a B type question is always depending on the A type question. So for the B type question, if you know the periodic motion, they can ask you why is the motion of a simple pendulum is periodic. Then what kind of motion is the motion of the sun around the earth? How it is vibratory motion, periodic motion, or simple harmonic motion? Why is the weight of an object zero at the center of the earth? You know, at the center, weight equal to mg. Z is zero, so it is also important. Explain three law of falling bodies. Already I write here. It is important from this chapter here. Why do you understand by instantaneous speed? It is as B type question and A type question. And what will be the graph of? Sometimes they question like this one. What will be the uh, graph of, there is 2 or 3 type of graph they describe. And in my class when I give the lecture, you directly class 9, I draw many graphs for you and I give homework for you. We make a note on graph for various type of position, acceleration, velocity and type. So what will be the graph of uniform acceleration, uniform acceleration and non-uniform acceleration also. Non-uniform. If you know the uniform acceleration, non-uniform acceleration, you can also know about the uniform velocity and non-uniform velocity also. Actually, you will learn about the uniform and non-uniform graph. And whatever the word beside it, it is not make you a problem. Hmm. And then there is also, they can make any type of B type question from here. Mostly, they just make the question why this one is periodic motion, what type of motion a clock hand is, explain, and what is vibratory motion, why it is called a vibratory motion, like this one, an acceleration, uniform, there's some definition of uniform acceleration, acceleration, non-uniform acceleration, speed time, reference frame, and like this question is always familiar from this chapter, and you already know about this one because this is you learn from very beginning of your chapter. So it is totally about A type and B type of question. For this chapter, for the B type is important here because there is uh, 5 or 6 type of motion they describe, and they can make the question A type and B type of 6 type of question of this one. If we go for the creative about this chapter, then we will be
স্যার,
know about.
আপনার ক্লাসের রেকর্ডিংটা আছে না, এটা একটু গ্রুপে দিয়ে দিন।
Acha. Okay, thank you very much. So for the B type question, and now CQ chapter 2, if we describe about CQ, and there is some fundamental questions, equation for us, V equal to U plus AT, and always we know V square equal to U square plus 2AS. Whenever you learn the equation, and if you see how, then you first learn the formula for V, like one S equal to ut plus half at square. It is plus minus, you already know. Plus minus means for acceleration and deceleration or retardation, or S equal to average velocity into time. Where will be used from average velocity in time? It is from graph 1, graph, especially graph and uniform velocity. Whenever you see any mathematics from the graph, then you just give this one, and uniform velocity for this one. So then again, B equal to U plus AT, then B square T square plus 2S is equal to UT plus half AT square. We know we can also write it U plus GT, or V square equal to U square plus 2GH, and H equal to UT plus half GT square for falling bodies, for falling bodies. And this formula is most important for another chapter, which chapter 4, chapter 4. So this chapter also important. If we finish here the time, and we go for the second class for this one. So this formula, and there is some information when they say rest or still, then U equal to 0, then say stop, then V equal to 0, or come to stop, then also V equal to 0. In physics is the language of mathematics. Physics is the language of mathematics. So whenever you see some word stop, start, rest, come to rest, come to stop, then come to rest or stop, it is not a simple word. It is you for information. Half, it is the half of this one. It is the double of this one. So you always think that it is not only a word, it is information for you. Information. So from the chapter 2, what are the clue for? Clue for the creative. It is clue for, we will be just asking you to find acceleration, then velocity, and describing graph. Describing
স্যার
graph.
আর একটু পরে ক্লাস শেষ হয়ে যাবে টাইম।
হ্যাঁ, তারপরে তোমরা আরেকটা ক্লাসে জয়েন করো, সিমিলার ক্লাস, সমস্যা নেই। দেন describing graph and find out the acceleration and find out the velocity about this one. So it is just unique. If they asking a question from here, it is the unique part of this one. But when this chapter 2 will be go for the chapter 3, then whenever they combine together, then there is always, and this 4 equation is from the chapter 2 to chapter 14. If till chapter 14 they want to make you a question, these formulas, mother formulas of the physics, you can use it every chapter with every information. They can just find out from here what is the question, what it will be this one about the question. So it is we just go now chapter 3. It is force, and you know about the chapter force. There is many more important time the finish. Apsara, please inform me because I am on the board. So you inform me time is finished,
স্যার
then we go
কিছুক্ষণ
for,
আগেই একটা নোটিফিকেশন আসছে যে 10 মিনিটের মধ্যে শেষ হয়ে যাবে।
okay. They will show you also the time on the top of your mobile or laptop. Okay. If finish, I will be able to understand whenever it is finished. I think it is now time. Another 6 minutes is left. 6 minutes is left. Okay. Then chapter 3, it is always, you know, mathematics type MCQ. We like to graph your mathematics time. Mathematics type MCQ. We like to do this one, MCQ. So for the MCQ and A type, B type question is some familiar with the previous chapter. What is inertia? What is force? Describe Newton first law. Then contact force. You know, there is various type of force: gravitational force, the electromagnetic force, weak nuclear force, strong nuclear force. So we can ask any type of force. Then contact force is one of the important contact force. Then frictional force. This is the question for the examination, and some force they give for you just the learning, plus you just gather the knowledge. Then frictional force, balanced force, also a very good question. Balanced force, you see every board examination board type they are giving this type of question just force from this one. And sliding friction, there is also important sliding friction. And you know there is must a MCQ from the various type of friction. There, you know, 4 type of friction there: sliding friction, fluid friction. And for every friction they give one or two example. So you must, whenever you learn the fluid friction, sliding friction, and different type of friction, please must learn the example of this one, because many question from this one. So here is also a question: conservation law of energy or force we have. Here is also about they talking about the momentum, because this chapter they also describe also second law, Newton first law, second law and third law. First law, first, second and third law. There is second law especially for momentum, you know, velocity into time, momentum, and conservation law of momentum. And for the third law they make B type question here about why we just every action has a equal and opposite reaction. When we work, why it how we work, what is the rule, which law it suffered, and various type of thing for P type question. And first law we get the idea about force and inertia, and second law we can measure the force F equal to ma. How will we measure this one? And B type question is always a complex, and there will be not a question, there will be not a board question or examination question without B type question from this chapter. Always there is a question: why frictional force created? That means if you know what is frictional force, then you can also answer why frictional force is created. Then explain the weight of a body varies at different places of the earth because of acceleration due to gravity and weight its weight. Why does a screw get stinged with a nail when it penetrates through the wall? Very familiar question, and it is important question for you. Why does a screw get? Why does a screw? It is because of frictional force. Stagnated, stagnated. They try to make you a question from this one. Why does the screw write to difference between equivalent and inequivalent force? That means balanced force and imbalanced force. There is many type of point you can write. Whenever they fixed you to write two difference, then you should write two difference. If they are not give you any restriction, you think that if you write two difference, they will mark you two difference, a 2 mark. But if you for you confused for two difference and I have get the 2 mark, then please go for four, not more than four, but never mark three. They never three difference. If you go two, it is okay. If you want to write, then it you just write please the four differences. And then how you prove the first law from the second law? How can the concept of inertia force found from the first law? Then you just derive the first law, and that you says that it is come from the first law. A boat goes backward while someone jump from the boat. Then you got the idea about the boat. So in the, I think our class is less than 1 minute. We'll describe more about the CQ type of question from this chapter. What topics will be there? So we are for the finishing this class. So chapter 2 and 3, one creative question is must from here, and may also make one question from chapter 2 and 3. And I told you that what chapter I given you phase 2, I will be now think about the rest of the chapters. But if you are not okay, if you are not you think that some chapters you should always, if there is 100 type of question, they make us to do 100 set question.